You know what's dangerous? When a woman is more committed to watching transformation than actually living it. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of women nowadays are struggling with this. And that is something scary because you can watch the best podcasts, you can read the best books, you can have the best quotes or have the most insane vision board and still not be changed. Because there's a big difference with being deeply inspired and actually being deeply transformed. And that is what we're going to discuss on this episode because it's a must. You girlies, those girls who know they're meant for more, need to hear this, okay? So grab a snack, get a drink, okay? Open up those listening ears and listen to this episode because it's going to change how you think. Before I even get into all this, I want to introduce myself, okay? Hello, my loves. My name is Daniela. Welcome to Elevate Her Path. On here, I help women stop playing small and start elevating their lives, okay? If you love things like faith, business, mindset, all those things, then you've come to the right place, okay? You are going to love this podcast. So just go ahead and stop waiting and subscribe, follow along. And yeah, let's get into how to become the woman that you keep on admiring. Let's talk about it, okay? This episode is going to hit a lot harder than most people think because the problem nowadays is not the lack of knowledge. We have enough, we consume enough, okay? Because you already know what you got to do. You already know that you have to start having healthier habits. You already know that you have to start waking up earlier. You already know that your phone distracts you. You should probably put it on mute. You already know that consistency matters and discipline does, okay? So if you really think about it, like the knowledge of everything, that is not the problem here, okay? The problem here is the embodiment, okay, of it. You have to be, do, have, and you don't understand that yet. And I'm gonna break it down for you. I'm gonna make you understand it, okay? First thing I'm gonna get real about is that most of us consume a lot of self improvement like it's entertainment, okay? And girl, I get it, okay? I get it. Transformation content feels good. It feels like we're actually achieving something in a way, because we're hitting that dopamine hit, okay? It also gives us a vision, we feel inspired, and it actually makes us feel emotionally connected to the woman you could become because you know what's possible. But inspiration without action becomes emotional procrastination. This is why so many women secretly feel so frustrated with themselves because they are constantly consuming content about becoming her, but in the back ends, behind the scenes, they're repeating the same habits that they're actually trying to outgrow. And that's frustrating because deep down, you know that when you're performing growth instead of actually living it. You know when you're romanticizing discipline instead of actually practicing it. You know when you're obsessed with this aesthetic of becoming her without actually changing your ways to become that. And this is where a lot of women stay stuck, not for months, not for weeks, for years, okay? Not because they're incapable. It's not because that, it's not. But it's because fantasy is easier than embodiment. Yeah, I know that's rough. And I actually heard this quote the other day, and it said basically a guy was talking and he had said, I don't have dreams, I have goals. So he's putting his dreams to work. He's actually bringing them into reality. Okay, we need to stop being in this fantasy world. No, 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 no. We are going to hit our goals. We are actually going to become that girl. I'm gonna tell you something. Becoming her requires something that most people avoid, which is discomfort. Okay, the woman you admire probably has very ordinary habits. That's the part that I don't think a lot of people want to hear. For example, okay, think about it. Everyone wants to be a girl boss. A girl boss, but what does that really entail when you get into the weeds of it? Okay, that means working like 12 hours daily. That means working your business 24/7. That means always strategizing, always thinking, always working. Like that is what you have to do to become a girl boss. If you want to become a millionaire, all these different things, you're going to have to work that hard. But I don't think a lot of people understand how hard it is to become the person that they want to become because they don't even understand what it takes. They haven't broken it down. And that is something that I think we need to come into reality with of what does it take to become the person that we admire? What steps did that person that we admire, what did they do? What reps did they have to take? Where do I need to start myself? Okay, because I promise you, the girl that you admire, she probably repeats the same routines, protects her focus, handles things when she says she will, and goes to bed at decent times. All the boring stuff that we don't want to do, she does. I promise you, okay? 100%. Like, I bet on it. I bet $1,000,000 on it. Like, that's what she does. Because that's what it takes. That's what it takes. And it's nothing glamorous, it's nothing aesthetically pleasing. But that's the secret to actually changing your life. That is the formula. Because while everyone's chasing a dopamine high or chasing motivation, she's actually taking the steps to change her life. And that's the difference between someone who's going to get to their goals than someone who is just dreaming. Because I think a lot of women and average people, they admire outcomes, but they do not analyze or understand behaviors. They admire the confidence, but they ignore the self-trust that it took to build that. They admire the peace, but ignore the boundaries it took to protect it. They admire the body, but ignore the discipline it took behind it. And they admire success, but ignore the years of consistency nobody saw. Okay, and I think that's where social media confuses us tremendously. It confuses us because everybody posts the reward, but nobody really posts the repetition, the discipline, all the hard things it did take, because that's not pretty, that's not aesthetically pleasing, that is not Instagram worthy. And I'm telling you, the woman that you want to become, it's not through random motivation, it's built through repetition. And the woman you admire is probably more disciplined than she is motivated. And that is something that we need to capture today. Motivation is it's just emotional. Like, that is not gonna last. That's not gonna push you forward. Identity is behavioral, because if you think about it, like, look, the one that you admire probably doesn't wake up every single day feeling inspired either. She doesn't, okay? But she has stopped negotiating with herself constantly. And girl, this is one of the biggest shifts a woman can make. It's one of the most powerful ones. Because you right here, you need to stop negotiating with the woman that you want to become. Stop asking yourself, how do you feel? No, no, no. Start asking yourself, what would the woman I want to become, what would she do right now? That's what you should be asking, because it all starts in your brain. It all starts in your thoughts. So be very, very intentional with what you're saying to yourself, what you're asking yourself. And this shift will change, because when you really want to abandon your goals again, you're going to be thinking differently. You're going to be thinking about her. And little by little, your decisions start to change, okay? And this is the part that I feel like a lot of people do not emphasize enough. You don't have to be her all at once. That doesn't exist. Okay, it's little by little, step by step. Because every single time that you keep a promise that you made to yourself, your brain starts believing, oh, maybe we really do want to become this person. And that right there, that's powerful. That's progress. Interestingly enough, I think a lot of us are waiting to feel confident before we actually start changing our lives. But confidence usually comes after you start changing your life. That's the twist. Confidence is often the reward of consistency. It's doing the work and then seeing the outcomes of that work. And this is where I think a lot of women lose themselves, because they think that they're the problem. But the problem isn't that. The problem is that their brain has been trained to escape the exact moments that would make you powerful. That's literally what our brain does, because it thinks right now that it's dangerous, because your brain's trying to protect you, right? And if you think about it, like, the moment something hard happens, what do most of us do? We check our phone for safety, we scroll, we open another tab, we clean the room, we tell ourselves we'll start later. We make up all these excuses so we don't do the thing that we actually have to do to get what we want. It's crazy how we do that to ourselves. And that right there is called emotional avoidance. And psychologists actually say that procrastination is actually an emotion regulation problem, not just a time management problem. So it's actually something internal. Meaning, a lot of us procrastinate because the task makes us feel scared, or makes us feel uncomfortable, insecure, stupid, all these different things. So we try to avoid it because we don't want to face it. And that changes the whole conversation, because we're not just saying be more disciplined. No, we're asking, what feelings are you trying not to feel? What's happening internally within you? And really, the girl that you admire, she's just better at staying present when things feel uncomfortable. And that is something that we need to work on, regulating our emotions. And I want to pause here, okay? Because I don't want this episode to make you feel like becoming means becoming perfect. Like, no, no one is perfect. That's not what I mean. The woman you admire is not perfect either. I think that's something I need to get in y'all's head. She is not more perfect than you. She is not. No one is perfect. Everyone has flaws. That is called being human. Becoming her does not mean trying to reach this unreachable version of a woman who never struggles or who's just perfect all the time. That doesn't exist. And I want you to understand that becoming her, this is the new definition, becoming her is about loving yourself enough to stop abandoning yourself, stop abandoning who you want to become. Really, this is about learning how to grow without hating the woman you are right now. That is what you should be focusing on. And the reality is, we're going to have days where we don't feel like ourselves, okay? The difference is you don't use those moments as a permission to quit. Give yourself grace. That is what you need to do. Give yourself grace. Don't be like, oh, I messed up here. Well, I can never do the diet again. Oh, I messed up here. Well, then I'm going to stop posting. Oh, I messed up here. Like, stop that, okay? Just give yourself grace and then get back to it, okay? Get back to it. That's how this works. This is the character of the woman that you admire. She does not run every time something feels like resistance. She does not make fear the leader of her life. She has learned to sit in discomfort long enough to create different outcomes, okay? And that is where a lot of people need to mature. Your dream life is going to require you to stop using distraction as anesthesia. And the reason you're stuck is not because you don't have knowledge. Like I said in the beginning, the reason is because any time that your future is asking you for focus, your nervous system is asking for comfort, and you usually listen to that part of yourself. And that is something that we need to shift. Because reality check, if your comfort keeps on winning, your vision will keep on waiting. And you may not even get there one day if you don't start now. And this is not entirely your fault, okay? Because if you think about it, what do we have in our grasp right now? We have all this information, we have social media, we can just scroll, and forget everything that is going on around us. And that is something that's really, really dangerous. And that's where we have to be careful because this constant stimulation is training your brain to leave a room when anything gets harder or when there's actual change. You can't analyze what's around you because you're so focused on what's on the screen. And that is something that is not going to help you change for the better. And that's why we need to start shifting that because right now your brain thinks when this is boring, then I'm going to leave. When things are hard, then I'm going to escape. When things feel slow, I'm going to find some sort of stimulation, anything. Like that's how your brain thinks right now, and that is not healthy because doing the successful path is a long one, buddy, okay? And you need to have that specific focus, discipline, consistency to keep going to get to where you want to be because this life is about climbing the hill. Like, what's the fun of it if you're already on the hill in this life? Like, it's not fun. You should have that pressure. You should keep on. You know what I mean? Like, that is the reason for this life. It's not just to chill all the time. And so make it fun, okay? This challenge of focusing on your future. Make it fun. Teach yourself how to stay in the discomfort. When you have a hard, long day ahead, okay, get all that work done. When you have to go and do something uncomfortable, do it right away. Swallow the frog, if you know that phrase. All these different things, like do the hard thing, okay? Because you will see that it's going to be worth it. Because you cannot become a high level woman that I know you guys want to be and have a low tolerance for discomfort. And I say this with love, okay? Because I know a lot of us want the results of a focused woman, but we keep on living with the attention span of a distracted one, and that is not going to help you because those two things they can't coexist for long. Like for example, you cannot keep feeding your mind chaos and expect clarity. You cannot keep consuming comparison and expect to feel confident. You cannot keep checking out of your own life and expect to feel connected with your purpose. Like all these different things, you cannot. It does not work. You have to look for the answers. You have to do the work. And I want you to dive deeper. Okay, I want you to stop being like, "Oh, why am I not the girl that I want to be?" like and getting frustrated. Instead of getting frustrated, really ask this question, okay? What am I training myself to become every single day? Every single decision I make every single day, what is it building within me? What is it? Like go deep into that. Because your daily inputs are disciplining you, okay? The content you consume is disciplining you. The people you listen to are disciplining you. The habits you repeat are disciplining you. The distraction you keep choosing are disciplining you. Really, I want you to really analyze, are they disciplining you into the woman that you want to be, or are they pushing you further away from it? Is it helping you escape from what you're scared of, from what you're avoiding? This is the part that should be waking you up. This right here. Because becoming her is not just about adding habits, okay? It's also about removing the things that keep seducing you back to your old ways. This is where I want to talk about fear, okay? Because sometimes women do not stay stuck because they don't want success, but really they're scared. And it's so sad because most women are more comfortable being underestimated than being responsible for their potential. And that is a hard truth that we need to hear right now, okay? And that is a tough pill that we need to swallow because I need you to look into your own life. Is there anything that you are compromising because you're scared of what others are thinking about you or what people might say? If that is what is limiting you, you need to remove that. For example, for me, posting this podcast, like this was very, very scary for me, but I know what I'm going to do and what I'm capable of and what women I'm going to impact. So why am I going to stop myself from actually helping people just because of a stupid comment from someone who doesn't get it? It's okay if they don't. If they don't, they don't. And awesome. You keep living your own life. I'll keep on living mine. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? Like, don't let people stop you from doing the things that you want to do, the things that you admire. You cannot ask God to expand your life and then keep hiding every time he gives you a chance to grow. Like that doesn't make sense, okay? At some point you have to decide, okay? You have to decide, am I going to trust my fear or am I going to trust the vision God gave me? What are you going to trust more, okay? God or your little emotion called fear? We should be trusting God 100%. There's actually this really, really good quote that I want to say because what I just said before reminded me of it. But listen to this. Really, really listen to this, okay? Okay, listen up, guys. The rich trust their vision and doubt their fear. The poor trust their fear and doubt their vision. This right here is about identity, okay? Because the woman you admire has fear too. She does. But she has stopped worshiping it. You are worshiping your fear right now. That's what's happening, okay? You have to see fear not as wisdom, but just as an emotion. It doesn't mean anything. It can't be your moral compass. It can't be your God. Stop idolizing it because it's stopping you from becoming the person that you want to be. And fear is actually meant to protect us, right? But sometimes fear is not a warning. Sometimes fear is proof that your identity is being stretched. That's where you need to go in internally and understand the difference. If you trust every fear, you will keep shrinking your life to fit in your comfort zone. But if you trust your vision, even while fear is knocking on your door, you will start moving differently. Ignore the fear, ignore it. The woman that you admire, she says no when the old version of her would have said yes. She stays focused when the old version of her would have escaped. She shows up when the old version of her would have disappeared. And she lets herself be seen when the old version of her would have hidden. This is how she becomes her. This is how you can become her. My loves, the woman that you admire, she's not asking you to copy her. She's actually showing you what is possible when you stop abandoning yourself. She's inviting you to stop betraying the life that God has for you. Because the better version of you, she is not a random woman far away from you. She is you. You just need to stop choosing habits that make you forget about her. If you keep choosing her in small moments and you realize you are no longer just admiring that woman, you're becoming the kind of woman that you prayed for. Okay, that is the end of this episode. I really hope this impacted you as much as this impacted me. I think that's it. It is actually really late here, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed. But keep on elevating your lives, keep trusting God, and keep becoming the woman God created you to be. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.